This is the solution to the exercise on page 10 of the handouts of session 1. It is about divisibility in primes, and the question is whether x is divisible by 91. And you have two pieces of information. The first one is that x is divisible by 7, and the second one is that x is divisible by 13. Now there's several ways to solve it, and I am going to show you the theoretical way here, the way we discussed in class, because that's the fastest way, and it will also prevent you from falling in a specific pitfall which is not present here, but it is in the next question on page 11. So let's go back to the question. It asks you whether x is divisible by 91. So it basically asks you whether x has all the prime factors that are present in 91. So if we prime factorize 19, you get 7 times 13. 7 times 13 is 91, and 7 and 13 cannot be split up in smaller numbers. So it basically asks you, has x prime factors of 7 and 13, and there may be more prime factors, but that's irrelevant here. The question is whether x has as prime factors 7 and 13. This first piece of information tells you that x is divisible by 7, so it tells you that x has a prime factor of 7 and possibly more prime factors. But it doesn't tell you whether there's also a prime factor of 13. So therefore this first piece of information is not sufficient to answer this question. Same reasoning goes for the second piece of information. It tells you that x is divisible by 13. That is, it tells you that x has a prime factor of 13 and possibly more prime factors. But it doesn't tell you whether x has a prime factor of 7. So therefore the second piece of information is also not sufficient to answer your question. Now if we combine both pieces of information, then we know that x has a prime factor of 7 and it has a prime factor of 13. So then we can say, yes, x is indeed divisible by 91 because it has a prime factor of 7 and 13. Now this question was relatively straightforward, at least with this theory, but the next question, the one on page 11, contains a pitfall and you need to be careful there. So have a look at that one.